good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whatever time of day it is that you're listening
or watching
this latest episode of TurfCast podcast with me, Joe Redmond, and as usual, my good friend Simon Townley. How you doing, mate? You alright?
Oh, good. Another week, another defeat, but another week.
Yeah, we'll get into that. I see you on the beers. Is that a beer I saw then? Like you.
Monument Valley is a tangerine pale ale.
I've had that. No, I've had that. You obviously that's from your Flavourly box, isn't it?
It certainly is, my friend. Again, there we go.
Are you still getting these Flavourly boxes, or is that the one that you ordered about 6 months ago?
Yeah, it's like the Creator 24 from before Christmas.
Yeah, you don't drink that. Honestly, they haven't got me in a week. I'm not going to lie. In fact, it's weird that you're drinking that one now, because I went back to my old house today and I tidied some of the garden up. And I remember, you remember when it was dead sunny in like August? I had a drink of that ale and I put it next to me. And I went to tidy the garden up today and it was still there. I'm like, oh, you scruffy bastard. I couldn't believe it left. And I've just seen it today. But I've got a skip now, so I put it in skip. I shouldn't have said that because people are like, oh, free skip, I'll go and put loads of stuff in skip. Don't worry. I've got Steph Wilson and Donna to tell me if anybody puts anything in that skip. So don't you dare put anything. Yeah, of course I have. The skip cost me over 100 quid, that skip. I bet you some scrubber's going to try and put some building work in there. Not for me. I paid money for that. You can fuck off, basically.
Anyone who knows Joe will not be surprised by that.
No, you won't. But to be fair, if you spent 100 quid on a skip and it was at an house that you didn't live at anymore, say you were renting it out, which is the scenario that I'm hopefully going for, and you went back for it 2 or 3 days later and someone had filled it full of crap, you'd be fuming.
Yeah, it would. But if I finish with it, I'd usually text the lads.
Yeah.
Skip outside house.
Yeah, but I've not finished with it. I'm not even starting with it. I put 3 bags in it. When I finish, if there's something left, Steph, if you still listen to this podcast, which I don't think you do, you can have some of it. But anyway, how are you, mate? You alright?
All good, mate. Just cracking on, working again online.
Yeah, well, I'm still same as you, really, working from home. Hours have gone down a bit this week. Obviously, those that are long listeners to the podcast will be aware that I work for a bookmaker, and bookmakers' shops are now shut. So because of that, everything's gone online, and I worked online. So because of that, everybody's gone online. There's not enough shifts for me. So my hours have gone down a bit. But apparently, shops in Jersey might be opening next week. So if that is the case, then the hours will be going back up. So fingers crossed for that. A couple of sort of like admin things I want to do before we get started and talk about the football. We reached 250 subscribers on YouTube this week. Happy days. There you go. There you go. You can tell we're back on eCam now, can't you? Even using sound effects. Software banter. But yeah, happy with that. 250. It's a slow burn with YouTube, and I'll be honest, at first I found it quite difficult, but since we got to like 200, it's slowly started to snowball. So the aim is to get to 1,000, simply because when you get to 1,000, you can monetize it. It's as simple as that. I'm not going to bullshit you and say, oh, it's just a good number that I want. I want money, basically. And you can get paid off YouTube if some of your videos do well. So that's the aim, 1,000 subscribers. One thing I would like to achieve at some point in life, I don't think I'll ever do it with TurfCast, because the fan base isn't that big. I'd like to get 100,000 subs on you, because you get one of them little platinum silver plates in post, don't you? Can you imagine that in background? That'd be sick, that, wouldn't it? That'd be sick, that. So yeah, I'm happy with that. 250 subs, happy with that.
Well, people that are watching, talking of visuals on YouTube, they will notice our new template. We're invested 250 subs. We've invested time.
Well, that's it. This is part of all the admin I want to talk about. If you're watching on the YouTubes or on Facebook on Friday night, you will notice that we have new graphics. Simon spent a lot of time watching YouTube videos, basically because I don't have the patience to do that. Then I've spent time doing all the editing for it because Simon's got the software now, to be fair. But that's sort of like what I've done in my career and shit. So yeah, we've got new graphics for this. We've got the new graphics for the pre-game show, which we released on Wednesday night. So you will have seen it by now, hopefully. If you haven't, feel free to go and watch it after this. You will be hearing, by the way, just to say, from the lad that I interviewed Can't remember his name off the top of my head now. Connor, ahead of the pre-game show towards the end of this game, towards the end of this podcast. So you will see that. But you're liking the graphics, Simon. So fingers crossed, all the viewers on the YouTubes and Facebook are.
Yeah, awesome, mate.
In fact, if you are watching this on YouTube, please leave a comment. I hate it when YouTube is like, leave a comment below, because they're doing that obviously so they get the algorithm and stuff like that. Smash a like. I'm never going to be one of them. That's probably why I've only got 250
I'll do
subs.
it. Like and subscribe, guys. Come on.
No, don't do it. It's pathetic. In fact, make sure you do subscribe.
Done it.
Not you. I'm about them. Make sure you do subscribe, but leave a comment. Let me know what you think the graphics are like, because I am probably going to change them a little bit. Simon's whinging. He says he wants to be wider because he's invested all this money in his backdrop, so he wants people to see it. And I don't necessarily disagree with it. I'll just sort of like playing and stuff, and then
it's phase one. It'll develop.
Yeah, although we are going to keep it square for the pre-game show, and we're going to keep it long and thin for the 3-man watch-along. But let us know what you think in the comments. And another thing I want to say is the numbers on the actual podcast, if you're listening on the podcast, have been shooting as well recently. Is ever since we did the ALK. What are you laughing at?
It's just all these things in my head, that long and thin shooting up.
For God's sake. You need to. Yeah, I won't say what I'm going to say. Actually, we'll move on. But yeah, it's because we did the big podcast when ALK took over, and that was obviously a big talking point in Burnley fans. And I think a lot of people came for that one, and they've listened to it and they've gone, you know what, these guys, they're all right. They're not too bad. They're all right. And I think a few of them have stayed for that. So fingers crossed if that is the case, and I think that's why a lot of people, the numbers have gone up a bit.
Yeah, 100%. Like I said, we've done more content. Lockdown, people got more time. Even I've started listening to podcasts, ones that I didn't used to listen to. So take advantage, guys. Like, subscribe, and hopefully we can keep getting better and doing more.
Yeah, fingers crossed. I say the same thing to everybody every single week and stuff. If you're a new listener, please feel free to drop us a message on Twitter. Just at us, DM us if you don't want to do it publicly. I'm fine with that. Let us know what you like and don't like about the podcast. I'm always happy to take some constructive criticism on board. It has to be constructive though, not just like some guy on Facebook the other week calling us a pair of weapons because we had a podcast, but we'll move on from that.
Right, so people don't listen to TurfCast to hear news about TurfCast. That's what the social media channels are for. People listen and watch TurfCast to talk, to hear us talk and to listen to us talk and about Burnley Football Club. So let's start with the defeat. West Ham United 1, Burnley 0. Go.
Yeah, it's not looking good in terms of creativity at the minute still. Dwight got on at half time and did bring us into the game more, but I felt almost deflated, and not because of what you probably expected me to say. You probably expected me to say, oh, it was shit, it was this, it was that. But I think that slight nick off Ben Mee on his head, that's just it's clearly the easiest header for Tarky. You can tell where he's positioning, he wasn't even panicking about it, and that little touch just took it past him, and then the goal's gone in. Great reactions from Antonio, who to me I really rate that player. He's a good player. I watched him again yesterday, 2 days ago if you're listening. But he's a good player, mate, and once that goal had gone in, it was a different game. They had their agenda, you know what I mean. Once they went 1-0 up, they made it hard, and I read a comment in the watch along saying they Burnley does, and you can't really give it a better adjective than that, because they did.
Yeah, I went on a YouTube channel called The West Ham Way pretty much straight after full time, and I said the exact same thing. I was saying like you've effectively Burnley does, because that's what we do when we do things well. We get in front and we shut up shop. Now I'm not saying that they're shut up shop, because if you just look at the chances they had, they could have won 3-4-0. You know, the post twice, didn't they? And I think Pope made a couple of saves. So I think the Burnley does to a respect, because like I said it myself, and I do agree with the people that were saying it in the chat on the watch along. But at the same time, it could have been 3-4. But it's the same old story, isn't it now? Like, a lot of people were arguing in the watch along chat and on the Twitter Clarets hashtag afterwards. A few people saying we played well, a few people disagreeing with that and that sort of thing. But I think the reason why there's such a difference of opinion in that sense is because at the back, and we played well again. Like you said, it's just that nick off Ben Mee. If it wasn't for that nick off Ben Mee, we don't lose that game. Like they might have, like you said, they might have come at us or whatever, or created another chance.
Even the one where they hit the post at the back post, I can't remember who it were now. And if you actually look, it heads it onto Ben Mee's foot that's clear. So it's an unbelievable block, really, because Ben Mee's put his foot there to block the shot. He's not done it there for nothing. And he has done that. And like you said, defensively, we weren't that bad, really. I know they had the chances. But it's just this lack of creativity. This is what's frustrating me, Yeah. Is there a change needed? I'm not sure, because excuse me, I keep saying this, but all 4 strikers are of a similar standard. Vidra came on for quite a significant amount of time for a change, which is good to see. J-Rod coming, so the 2 men up top that are being argued to be starting did absolutely nothing in that time. Not because I'm criticising them, I'm bringing this up, but I'm bringing it up because it's the things behind them that make them opportunities happen, and it's not happening behind them.
Yeah, we'll get on to that. It's the same. You are spot on, but that's what I mean. It's the same old story, isn't it? Like, a few people saying we played well, a few people arguing saying we didn't, because we played well at the back, and that's what I mean. It's the same old story. We're playing well at the back, but we're not playing well up front, or for want of a better phrase, going forward. We're not playing well going forward. I think it's the best way to say it. Chris Wood and Ashley Barnes did nothing again.
I put it to you.
But Jay and Vidra didn't do anything again. What do you want to put to me? Sorry,
I was saying why are we not? What is missing?
I don't know. This is an interesting debate, because there's only 2 people that are missing now. One of them is Charlie Taylor, so maybe it's Charlie Taylor. But then Charlie Taylor was playing. Having said that, we beat Wolves with Charlie Taylor in the side and things like that. But one of the other people missing is Jack Cork. So now, is it Corky? Do we bring Corky back in? And that is, by the way, thank you for bringing that up. That is this week's Pitch Sports Fan Time question. Is it time that Jack Cork was brought back into the squad? Now, I don't know. It's so easy to say that we're missing somebody when we're not doing well. Footballers' values always go through the roof, not in terms of money. I mean, in terms of what they offer to the team when they're not playing. And I think this is what's happening with Jack. Like, no one missed him this time, towards the end of last season when we were doing well. But now all of a sudden we're not doing well, and now people are missing him. I haven't actually sent the question into Pitch Sport yet, so if you're like Mark Howarth and listening to this at 4 a.m. on Thursday morning, don't go over to the app and answer it, because it won't be there. I'm going to send it in Thursday morning. Hopefully they'll put it out by Thursday afternoon. But yeah, what are your thoughts then? Do you think we bring Jack Cork into the side, or do you think we're missing Charlie Taylor, or do you think it's something totally different?
I think it's Jack Cork. I honestly do, right? And I'm the same guy that argued about David Jones. I'm the same guy who was arguing now about Jack Cork. You can't have somebody that wants to go forward with the ball every time. As much as the Bob Lord stands scream it on the turf, like, go bloody forward. That's all I ever used to hear. When they were passing it back all the time. That you can't always go forward with the ball. You have to retain the ball. You have to let the team get forward before you go. Because at the minute, we're hitting the ball into the channels and the midfield is still in the defensive half. We are missing that man, that link, the one who screens the defence, the one who moves left and right. The same job that Dave Jones did and got criticised for is the same job that Jack Cork.
And Tony Grant. Tony Grant criticised for that as well.
And we're criticising now. Well, we're not even criticising Jack Cork, but what my point is Brownhill is a good player, and Brownhill and Westwood are both good players, but they both want to do a similar role. Now, I think Westy plays better with a Cork next to him. We've said this about strikers. Why can't midfielders have a partnership? They never really talk about midfield partnerships. It's always like, oh, they're a good partnership up top. But midfielders are the same. We talk about how good Ben Mee is with Tarky, how good Tarky is with Ben Mee, whichever way around you want to say it. But I still think that there's pieces of the puzzle that are missing, and Jack Cork is clearly, at the minute, a massive piece of that.
It's one. I don't disagree with you, because something is obviously missing. The proof's in the pudding. Something is clearly missing. So it'd be very difficult for somebody to say, no, you're wrong. No doubt some people will be saying that. But it's very difficult to do that. Charlie Taylor could be back for the game against Liverpool. As much as we want him back, personally, I wouldn't play him against Liverpool. I'd
I
keep
thought
him
the
off.
same thing. Why risk him?
I'd keep him off. What's the point? Keep him off. I don't even know who we've got after Liverpool now because I've just tunnel vision now thinking about the Liverpool game. But I wouldn't play him. But same with Jack Cork, I wouldn't play him. But it's a very long-winded way of me getting round to the question of
Villa at home, and Chelsea away.
Right, well, we can beat Villa at home. I know they did a real job on us last season. I know they've done very well this season, but I still believe we can beat Villa at home. So then, for the Villa at home game, say Charlie Taylor's back in fit. Obviously, he slots back into the side, no questions asked. Literally, not one Burnley fan would say, keep Eric Peters in there. Not one. Maybe the dickheads who just want to be controversial. But when it comes to Jack Cork and you want him back in the side for this Villa game, who are you dropping?
For the Villa game, Brownhill, unfortunately. And it's not, and it's through gritted teeth. I almost have to say it because I don't dislike Brownhill. I actually really enjoy watching him play. He's very creative. He's very industrial. He does get involved and does tackle. But it's like I said, you can't have someone running forward with the ball every single time. The same thing we're criticising the strikers for. You can't have Ashley Barnes and Chris Wood up top doing the same job. And that for me, I think Westy and Brownhill should be competing for that position.
Yeah, well, why are you keeping Westy in there ahead of Brownhill? Just because it's worked with Jack Cork in the past?
Yeah. There's not. Yeah. I can't really give you any sort of better answer than that because we've seen it work. We know that Brownhill's a good player, but we've seen that it's not working right this minute. It's really not working. But I do think Cork and Brownhill would be a good partnership equally. But right now, what I want to do is get consistency back, get that partnership up and running again, and start getting some points on the board. Even though I don't think we're doing that bad.
No, it's I don't know. It's one of them. It's going to be 3 defeats in a row. Let's face it. We're playing Liverpool. It could easily end up being 4 defeats in a row. Then it could easily end up being 5 defeats in a row. Then we are doing really bad. We're at that stage now where it's easy to look at it and pick out the positive patches from each game. Like, if it wasn't for the deflection from Pogba's volley, we probably wouldn't have lost against Man United. If it wasn't for the nick off Ben Mee's head against West Ham, we could have had 2-0 there, and we'd be in a very different mindset. That's just how football works. It's how life works. Because of these 2 unfortunate nicks, basically, we've lost 2 games in a row, and we could have been like X amount of games unbeaten. But going back to the Brown and Wesley debate, I think at the minute I'm going to disagree with you on that one. I think I would put Cork in simply because it's not working going forward at the minute. So I think something needs to change. But I'd put him in there with Brownhill. And I love Westy. I know a few people will want to, be knocking on the door with pitchforks and stuff because he's one of them players that people don't like dropping. But I think this season, exactly. I think this season, Brownhill's been the better of the 2. Like you say, they do very similar roles. But this season, I don't think anybody can disagree that Brownhill has been better. So I think because of that, you've got to reward Brownhill and say, right, it's your chance now. But I do see the point when you're saying, look, it has worked with Jack Cork and Westy. And what Westy does offer that Brownhill doesn't is delivery from set pieces and corners. And obviously everybody knows how dangerous we are from them. I know not Brownhill, what's he called? Brady has been taking a lot of set pieces and stuff recently, but they've been absolutely dog shit. The amount of times they're getting a good position and one of his free kicks just hits the wall and it goes too far. I remember when we first bought him, he scored that free kick against Chelsea. I remember thinking, this guy is going to be insane. Like, don't get me wrong, he's had a good season. I'm not slagging him off and saying he's been poor this season. But Brady's done well to come back. And, through gritted teeth, I'd say fair play, Johnny Tate. You might have nailed it on the head there with some of the comments you've made about, not player of the season, I'm not going that far, but saying he's going to come back and do well. Which I believe is what Tatey was trying to say, but in a very controversial way, which is Johnny Tate all over. But his delivery from set pieces and free kicks hasn't been good enough.
This is the most frustrating thing for me about Brady is he does the impossible sometimes. He does the very difficult amazing. And he does the easiest stuff in the world ridiculously tragic at times. He'll do, like you said, he'll hit the front man on a corner, but then he'll hit a 30-yard free kick and hit the bar or something. And it completely confuses me. But this season, the last few games, including probably 3 or 4 games, he's been really, really good. And then I even said on the last watch along, I would take him over Goodmanson at the minute, just because of form.
All day.
But I wouldn't have said that 6 games ago.
we had a bit of a debate about that, didn't we, on the podcast, on the watch along. A few people were vilifying us and stuff like that. And I say a few people, namely Kieran. Shout out Kieran if you're listening. But yeah, I think I'd have right now. Yeah, I'd definitely have Brady. I think Brady's. I like JBG. Don't get me wrong. Of course I do. But I think Brady is far more creative. JBG does a job, whereas Brady creates. If that makes sense.
We've seen it before. And I'm asking you because I genuinely think this is what will happen. So I've said what I want to happen. You said what you would want to happen. I will. To be fair, I'd rather the current team get points. Let's just clarify that. I think you'd agree with me there. But would he not put Brownhill on the wing and take JBG out?
Oh, you know what? If he does that, he can get to fuck. Why doesn't he just? Why doesn't he just bite the bullet? Dwight has done very well against Manchester United and West Ham when he came on. You know, he came on in the second half against Man United. We looked better instantly. He came on at half time against West Ham. We looked better instantly. Even like I said, I've been on that show, The West Ham Way. He said to me, he's like, "Oh mate, that Dwight McNeil is so good, mate. He's so good. Runs at players, and that's what he does. He puts a bit of fright into the opposition fans, and nobody else does that. And he looks better in our team because no other bugger runs with the ball. Everyone just gets it and they're a little bit static, or if they do run with it, they don't run with it very fast. Dwight runs with it. He gets past people. He nearly makes things happen. I'm going to say he makes things happen, but he doesn't at the minute, does he? Like, for all his huffing and puffing, at the minute he doesn't. Whether that's his fault or the strikers, whatever. But yeah, that's my take on that. But you look like you were going to say something. Sorry.
No, sorry. Yeah, I was just going to say, like, it's funny because I was speaking to, obviously, that I do a Man United player there who's currently injured, and he rang me I
think you've told everyone who is there.
And I think he rang me after the game and he said, "Your man at match is on the."
In case anyone's wondering, just one more clue. Got a bad knee. Go on,
mate. He rang me up after the game and said, like, "Yo, mate, what was that?" He said, "Your best player got man at match and he was only on 10 minutes."
Well, we give him man at match, didn't we? Watch along,
yeah.
And he were only on there 45 minutes, just to clarify. 10.
Yeah, well, no, it were West Ham. I'm on about Man United. Sorry.
Oh right, well yeah, it makes more sense, obviously. Yeah.
Yeah, sorry. I was saying about the Man United game. And like you said, he drives at people. He makes things happen. Whether it happens or not, he puts it in a position where it should. He
gets us 50 yards up the pitch. Put it that way. Whereas without him on the pitch, then we'd have been 50 yards back.
Absolutely, he is our best player by a country mile. Fit Dwight McNeil. He's had that rest that we probably needed at the beginning of the season. It weren't quite firing on all cylinders at the beginning. He's come on. He's looking sharp. Get that familiarity next to him, in my opinion.
Yeah, so I've just remembered now what I was trying to say before I ended up going off on a tangent like I normally do. Dwight McNeil on the left, Brady on the right. For me, Corky and Brownhill in the middle. For you, Corky and Westy in the middle. Whatever, that's fine. But them two, I think Corky needs to come into the side. And then...
I think he'll get a run at Fulham in the FA Cup. And then they'll see how he is after that. He'll get a full 90 minutes.
The Fulham game? Well, this
24th,
weekend.
Yeah.
Is it? Bloody hell. Yeah, fingers crossed then, yeah. And then obviously for the Villa game.
Which is a Sunday, Sunday.
Is it on Sunday? Right, cool. So we've got a game on Thursday and a game on Sunday. Yeah, you would think that he's going to put Charlie in the team against Fulham, put Corky in the team against Fulham. Maybe people like Benson, Glennon, whatever, a few others, Vidra and Jay, and things like that. So yeah, that's what I'd do. And then the front two, it's anybody's guess at the minute because nobody's firing. So I literally don't care who he plays anymore. I've defended Chris Wood for the first 6 months of the podcast. Now I'm not asked anymore whether I defend him or not. He's not been good enough. But then at the same time, nobody's done enough to convince me they deserve his place. So for me, I honestly don't care which front two he starts anymore. Personally, I still think our best front two are Jay and Chris Wood. So if I were going to choose a team, simply because none of the strikers
agreed.
I'd still go with Jay and Chris Wood. I've said time and time again, I think it's time for Chris to be dropped. And he was not dropped against West Ham, but Vidra and Jay had a long run in the team and they didn't do anything. Some people would argue that maybe it's time for Vidra and Jay to actually have a start so they can, get their eye in. I don't necessarily disagree with that. I wouldn't be too bothered if he started Vidra and Jay. I'm literally not asked who starts up front anymore because you might as well just put a stick on the field. They probably do about the same sort of stuff as the current front four anyway. But yeah, that's it from me and Simon on the West Ham game, unless there's anything else you want to add, Simon?
No, mate, I think you summarised it well.
And here's what the Burnley fans had to think on the fan reaction. Now, we've got a couple of bonus fan reactions in here for you. You will know that we put the fan reaction as its own separate video out on YouTube after the game, normally the Monday after the game.
Or Uncle Football on as well, is it?
After the game. No. Well, the thing is, Anti-Football didn't send one in this week, and neither did the New Zealand Clarets. However, they both sent one in after I've uploaded the video. So here are the bonus clips of Anti-Football and New Zealand Clarets on this week's fan reaction. As I say, the fan reaction is the Burnley fans giving their reaction on the West Ham game.
Thoughts on today's game? Really disappointed, to be honest. Once again, team selection baffled me. Wood and Barnes again up front, just offering nothing. To be fair though, I don't think we're giving them much, service to go at either. But they're just huff and puff, and it's getting up there. It's not sticking. I'm afraid I think it's time for a change. I think he's got to pick James Vidra now and put him together for the Liverpool game. We've got to go and try and get a result from somewhere. A couple of results gone against us today. West Brom, big win for them at Wolves. I didn't expect that. And then Brighton winning at Leeds, I didn't expect that either. So, tough to take today. Not much positivity really we can take out of it. I thought we were really poor today. Started sluggish, grew into game second half, but we ain't really creating any clear-cut chances. So not much to say this weekend, Clarets. Onwards and upwards. Let's hope we can pick a result up against Liverpool.
Afternoon, Clarets. Post West Ham. Did not go to plan, did it? I said in the last match reaction that I think it was a must-win because teams around us have started to pick up points, and we've got Liverpool probably going to be 3 defeats in 3 games now. I mean, West Ham, they are a good team. They're doing well this year. The top half. And I had a feeling beforehand that Antonio was going to score. I thought it was going to be 0-0 or a low scoring game anyway. But we played all right, I felt, until the goal went in, which was just a complete shambles defence. Miscommunication between Ben Mee and Taki. Just one of them things. We made it too easy for them to score. But other than that, I don't think they look like scoring that often. I thought we actually probably had more of the ball, but we didn't do anything with it, and that's the story of the season. It was clear that it's time for Wood to be dropped. He's carrying a burden of scoring, and he's not scoring, and it's actually borderline cruelty to keep playing him now, because every game he doesn't score, it's more pressure on him because he knows that we're relying on him to get these goals, and because he's the one that's starting. And for the others, I don't know. I think maybe they sort of know they're not going to play, so maybe they just sort of haven't got quite that edge because they know no matter what they do, they're probably not going to get in. But Daesh, to be fair to him, we've criticised him for not making changes early enough. He did it yesterday, made changes early on, and we looked better for it. So maybe in his mind it's settled now that he's going to change the front. We looked better when Vids and Jay came on, but we looked amazingly good when Dwight came on. More direct, faster. For me, it shows how much we rely on him though, and we haven't really got a way to play without him. And that needs to be addressed because he's going to pick up injuries. One day he's probably going to leave, and we need to learn how to create chances or to try and score a goal when he's not in the team. Brownhill, amazing. I thought he had a really good game and put himself about a bit. I know Brady and JBG were getting a bit of jip from various different fans. JBG, he's class. He's a class player, but he does look like someone who's a little bit scared of getting injured again. But if we can get them two firing, then that's more creativity. But it's the lack of goals again. It's gonna. I've said all along it's going to cost us, and it really is going to cost us now because teams around us are winning, as I've already said. It might come to the end of the season where goal difference plays a part in it, and we won't have one, just because we haven't scored enough. There's not a lot else I can say really. The reaction's sort of like same old. It's not looking good. We do need to score goals. I still think we'll be all right, and I do think the goals will come. It's just about Dyche finding which combination is going to get us those goals. And at the minute, it doesn't look like he knows which it is, but he will. But it's time for him to stop sort of playing games. He made a joke in his press conference about, to do celebrations, we have to score goals. Well, you can clearly see it's a problem, so do something about it. So hopefully he does give Vids a chance. Barnes was pretty quiet as well. I praised him for getting the free kicks against United, but he spent a bit too much time like rolling around on the floor and whinging yesterday for me. I don't know. We looked very just nothing in the first half. We knew we were going to score. Second half we had more possession, but we were doing that with it, as I say, and we've got to start scoring goals soon, because otherwise it's going to get a bit desperate. Can't say I'm looking forward to Thursday night, but you never know. Stranger things have happened. 4-0 the Clarets? Probably not, but let's live in hope, eh? On to the next one.
Hello again, Heath and Mark. New Zealand Clarets.
Yeah. Up the Clarets.
Up the Clarets.
But not this morning. What a shocker of a game, eh?
Your thoughts, Mark?
For 60 games, it was watching paint dry. The only good thing was the breakfast and the Kilkenny for breakfast. Marvellous. Seemed to pick up a bit when Vidra and Rodriguez came on. They showed a bit of passion, but apart from that, no team deserved to win. It was a lacklustre game. It was terrible, actually.
I'll be brutally honest with you. I'm glad I was half cut for the most of the game.
Yes. So you saw it through beer tinted glasses then. So what was your opinion?
I was just glad I was drunk. I didn't want to. I was so bored that I just wanted to take my clothes off, as I normally do. But thankfully I didn't.
Yeah. If you do a streak up the front street, that'll lift everyone's spirits and prepare us for the next game.
All right, watch this space. So yeah, it wasn't a great game.
No.
I just don't know. I missed the pace. If you're watching, we need help desperately.
We need a bit of investment. Yeah, Barnes has been a great servant, but it looks like this could be his last season. Everyone's cottoned on to him.
I'm just wondering what it takes for Vidra and Rodriguez to get a run of games together to start, and maybe try and play to their strengths rather than just the same old, wooden barns. You please do something different. Sean, please do something different.
There's nothing lost by doing that.
No. So anyway, thank you, Mark.
Yeah, boom. Cheers. Everyone back in Lancashire.
Yep, to that.
Hey, old Clarence, how we doing? Anti-football here. So, what a load of shite that were, down at West Ham. Bloody bubble boys. I don't know. It's just not happening, is it? It's not happening up front. And then if we balls up at back, then we're up against it, aren't we? I don't know what they were playing out there about. Peters got pulled out of position, didn't he? Bowden, he's a good one, and he'll mind him in our team. Tricky little winger like that. If only we had a tricky little winger that should be starting bloody game. Oh, we do! On Piggy bench, Darcy! Bloody hell! I think it's clear now. We should be starting with McNeil, shouldn't we? Don't care if he's been injured, he's looking good enough to me. Get bloody playing. Anyway, I don't know what they were doing there. It's very unlike Burnley, that goal, isn't it? Eh? Oh, but he's talking, not speaking to me. You say, leave it to me, to you, to me, to you. No, bloody hell. And Brady, what's he bloody doing? Runs all the way back, eh? Does hard work, and then don't bother getting right side at man, just leaves it. Oh, go on, tap it in there. Oh, very disappointing. Well, then we're not creating up front, are we? It's just not happening. I don't know how Wood stayed on pitch until 75 minutes. Unbelievable. But to be fair, Rodriguez, Didn't do out when he came on much, did he, Vidra? Well, they didn't have, I don't know. It's just not happening, is it? In an attacking sense, we're just not on it. Anyway, maybe next game it'll come good, eh? Eh? Who've we got? Oh, fucking Liverpool. Oh well, maybe game after that. Anyway, bollocks at football for now. I want to talk about something that happened before the game on Twitter. A tweet from one of our own, J. Rodriguez. What a good man, eh? Did you see that tweet? You know, in these difficult times when everybody needs a helping hand, we've got to look out for each other. And Jay's there, he says, tweets out, doesn't he? He says, anyone having any trouble, give us a DM or whatever, Danger Mouse, I don't know what that is. Anyways, he's there for whoever. I mean, how good is that, eh? I mean, a lot of these footballers get bad press, and fair dues, some bloody idiots out partying and that when they're supposed to be, being careful. But, there's some good ones out there as well. Probably most of them, to be fair. I mean, Rashford as well, isn't he, at United? Anyway, I bloody love Jay. He turned into quite the hunky young man and all, hasn't he? I mean, we've known him since a little boy, so it's a bit weird thinking of him like that. But I tell you what, I bloody would. I don't know what him indoors would have to say about it, mind you, but I don't know, maybe a threesome. He's always talking about fancying a threesome is my other half. So, I don't know, Jay, if you're up for it, me and Mr. Football, what do? I DM you and we can get it on, well, whatever. I'll speak to you later. Alright, anyway, I'm getting a bit hot and flustered here now thinking about that. Oh. Alright, that's me for now. Take care of yourselves. Ta-ra! Do-do-do-do! Anti-football! Do-do-do-do!
Right, so that was it for this week's fan reaction. I'll say the same thing I say every single week. We are looking for more people to get involved. It does seem to be the same 4 people every single week, which I'm fine with. But what I've always wanted to do with TurfCast, I'll say it time and time again, I want to give the fans a platform. I have now built this platform through 2.5 years of hard work, doing podcast recording, editing videos at night, coming up with stuff to put on social medias, creating graphics, 2 years of graft. You can now have it. This platform is now yours as well. If you want to say something about a football game, you say it. If you've got any ideas for TurfCast as well, if you want to be on a show, get in touch. If you want your own show, as long as you're not, an idiot and you're going to, spout loads of abuse and stuff on air, then you can have it. This platform belongs to the fans. That's how I see it. The only reason why me and Simon are on everything is because we're the only people that want to do it. No one gets in touch and says they want to do it. But yeah, if you want to have your say after the Liverpool game or after the Fulham game or after the Aston Villa game, just send in your fan reactions. You can send it to us on Twitter. You can send it to us on Facebook if you want. Send it to us on Gmail. If you know me quite well and you have my phone number, send it to me on WhatsApp. Honestly, this platform belongs to you. Anyway, as you can see at the bottom of the screen, and as I forgot to mention at the start of the podcast, before I do this, Simon, you look like you want to say something.
No, sorry, mate. I've just.
No, you just passing wind.
No, I'm just watching you read this, and I was just thinking, no, you didn't mention it, but it's big enough. That's what we're thinking.
Yeah. Well, that's what I did forget, but the banner's quite obvious. I've made it bigger thanks to the new graphics, so it fits on the bottom of the screen nicely with the graphics that we have now. But we are, of course, sponsored by Pitch Sport. It's an absolute honour. We've been sponsored by Pitch Sport for probably pushing a year now, maybe even more than a year. A big thank you to them for sticking by us and stuff like that. But yeah. What we do every single week is, as I've said, we upload a video. The video is called a Fan Time Question. This week's, as I've said, is going to be about Jack Cork. And just thinking about that Jack Cork thing, I'll probably send it on Friday after the Liverpool game because it makes sense to wait. I'm not going to send it before. In fact, no, you know what? I'm going to send it tomorrow, but I'm then going to not advertise it on the social media channels until Friday. There you go. So yeah, if you want to answer the question on Thursday, feel free, we'll be there. But the question the week before, which is what me and Simon answered last week and what we will now read out the responses for, is Is it time for Chris Wood to be dropped? Now, me and Simon have just pretty much discussed this. We discussed it last week as well. I said yes. Simon said I wouldn't be adverse to it, but no. Now we've both decided that all four of them aren't doing anything, so you could play whoever you want. But that was a question I asked on this week's Fan Time question. These are the responses that we got. Burnley Life got in touch and said, Vidra looks like our best striker at the minute. I had no idea where you've got that conclusion from, mate, because he's done nothing. However, you can't score if you don't get chances. They are getting chances, but not many clear-cut ones. I do agree with that bit, mate. And you know what? I don't agree with Vidra looking like our best striker at the minute, but I can see why you've thought of that. It's because he's on with Dwight a lot, and I think we look more attacking when Vidra's on. And I personally believe that that's because Dwight's on with Vidra every single time. It might be a different kettle of fish if Vidra was on with the people that Chris Wood had to start up front with. Chris Harris has been in touch. He says yes, 5 goals in 3 games when we played.
Well, I thought that were it then. Yes.
No, some people do that, but Chris has articulated himself a bit better. Yes, 5 goals in 3 games when we played VAR last season. Vidra and Rodriguez, he means VAR. And when Wood doesn't even look like he's trying, there's no reason not to start Vidra over. And that's a decent point about Vidra and Rodriguez. We did do all right with them. It was Southampton away, wasn't it? I think Bournemouth at home as well, off the top of my head. I think Vidra and Jay both got a goal in that one. But that's a good. He makes a good point. I like points when they made well with stats.
You could argue all 4, couldn't we? We've said this last week.
Yeah, I mean it's easy to say like they got 5 goals in 3, but I'm sure Barnsley and Wood at some point got more than that in a certain amount of games. But at the minute, yeah, they're not looking very good. Neil Layfield, shout out Neil if you're listening, says yes. Said in my fan reaction that he needs some time out. He could be complacent knowing he's getting picked regardless, but also might be feeling the pressure of having to provide the goals as a result of being in the team constantly. And I love it when Neil sends in a fan reaction response, which he does every single week, because Neil is pretty much the champion fan of TurfCast podcasts. And apologies if you think that should be you. Maybe do more. Neil sends in a fan reaction, he responds on everything, he listens, he does everything. Honestly, I sometimes say something towards the end of the podcast, or like a very little thing in the podcast, and he picks up on it and messages me. So he does everything for this podcast, as Neil, and I appreciate it. And I'm just actually, now we've mentioned Neil, congratulations to Neil, because he found out this week he's having a baby girl. So congratulations, buddy. Yeah, but just to go back on the responses, Simon, what are your thoughts on them responses to the fan time question?
I can't argue any of them, even the VAR one, even the Vidra bit, being the best player. I can't argue it at the minute when none of them are scoring goals. You know what I mean? My argument would be invalid if I start saying, well, no, I think Wood's better striker, because he's not scoring at the minute, and that's what he's judged on. But my personal preference for who I would want to see up top is Rodriguez and Wood. And if that don't work, I give up. Throw me season ticket on pitch.
Yeah, if that don't work with Jack Cork in the middle, then let's just forget about it. We'll enjoy Wickham away next season. Simple as that. And before we move on to the Liverpool game, let's discuss the January transfer window. Now, we don't really do stuff like this on this podcast, simply because there's never anything to discuss. Now, I know there's a few Twitter accounts out there. There's one called Claret's Report, which I think Chris runs, actually, who's just responded with a fan town question, who sort of like specialise in getting links and stuff of like players that we're linked with and stuff, and tweeting it out. Even that's been a lot quieter than it should be in January, let's be honest. But yeah, it's same old story, isn't it? And nothing's happening.
At the
not
minute,
even linked with many people.
This time.
Yeah, that's what I've just said to a Liverpool fan, because he was whinging. I thought, you can fucking talk. Whinging, you're not signing anybody. Bastard.
They need to sign someone. Like, yeah. I mean, I know we're not Liverpool podcast, but Henderson and Firmino at the centre back. It's
tragic. If you want to hear more about that centre-back pairing, we did discuss it on the pre-game show, so please feel free to watch the pre-game show after this on the YouTube channel. And while you're there, please subscribe. But yeah, there is still time. It's only the 20th at the time of recording this, the 21st when you're listening, if you're listening on Thursday or even a little bit later. But my worry is, you normally see us linked with a few people. I've seen us linked with, Jason Knight from Derby? That's pretty much it. That's the only like one that looks like it could actually. Oh, actually, tell a lie. I've just seen his link with Josh King at Bournemouth, which I don't think will happen. That's bullshit. I wouldn't mind it happening.
I was going to say, I think he's got probably bigger offers on the table if he's going anywhere.
I don't mind it happening, but I can't see that. I can't see that coming true. Simply because they'll want more than we can probably afford, and he will want higher wages than what we can probably afford. Having said that, the new owners are here now. It might be a little bit different, as you can see from my American flag.
Fuck's sake. I think there is going to be some noise because I'm excited. Like I know it's a bit off topic. In fact, I'll go in there in a minute. But like I'm excited by what is going to happen potentially, because even Amazon the other day, when they said, "Oh, the owners have come in, they've been quiet, they haven't seen him,"
when they were talking shit,
and they've isolated from COVID. Yeah. So they're fucking arse. But you got to probably take that into consideration. You know what I mean? They can't go and sign checkbooks from their home, and they're still getting to grips with probably the infrastructure of Turf Moor, and the way the Premier League signs players is probably different to the way they've handled MLS signing, because I know that that's a different sort of format because you go through the MLS to transfer players. I think it's different with the way where they do it. It's that what do they call it? Franchise, the MLS, innit? That NBA and all that lot. So I don't know. I think I'm excited to see what will happen if it does happen. I do think that anyone who's going to come in and make all that noise could not possibly not sign a player. He will definitely have to sign a player with all the noises made.
In January?
Yeah, Lansbury.
Oh, God's sake, no! Don't sign him. I don't know. I think with the position that we're in, I think we will sign somebody. I don't think it'll be a Josh Brownhill. I don't think it'll be of that stature. And even when he came in, he wasn't a good stature. You know what I mean? He was a backup player, basically. I don't even think it'll be that sort of signing. I think it'll be Dale Stevens sort of signing. I don't know. Maybe I've just lost all hope at the minute through transfers because we've been so bad in the transfer market in the summer. Obviously, I do rate the Josh Brownhill signing. Of course I do. I've just sort of said I want him started with Corky ahead of Westwood. That just shows how much I think he's done well. But I don't know. I'll be surprised if we bring in someone decent in the January transfer window.
Yeah, I think we will. I'm just trying to look for an article, which is why there's a bit of a pause there because I couldn't find the button. But who's the new guy that we've just got in? I can't remember his name. So we've got a new chairman, haven't we? Well, a new owner.
Alan Pace?
No, the other one.
The other one? You mean people on the board?
Yeah, that's what I mean.
I can't remember their names myself off the top of my head.
So we got a new guy in this week, and he said I can't remember his name now. But have you seen the guy's CV?
Yeah, you know what? I'll let you carry on.
While you find his name.
Yeah, I'll quickly Google his name so we don't look like absolute fucking. Meant to be a bit on the podcast. We don't even know people's names.
I can't remember his name.
Yeah,
just slipped me, man.
Both of them, though, all three of them, their CVs are incredible.
Yeah, well, this guy's CV is unbelievable. I'll hold off saying it, but he's got something to do with being the MD of the New York Knicks. He got employed by the NBA as a whole to run their marketing. He used to be the MD of sports in Madison Square Garden, and he's done other things like just as equally impressive. That's just a level part of what he's done on other things. So this guy's clearly been brought in to make a brand, make a franchisey sort of vibe about our club. And if that is the case, Dave, fucking hell, what a Burnley name and all.
Dave Checkits.
Dave Burnley.
If you're English, you'd be called Dave Checkits, but American, he'll be called Dave Checkits.
Dave Checkers. He's read his CV out if you've got it. Find his CV for me. But if he is coming to do
I'm not
the job.
LinkedIn.
If he's coming to do the job that I'm hoping he has, it's very exciting for Burnley fans, especially someone like the Burnley fans amongst us like myself that are mad into sort of like branding and marketing and things that we've always dreamt that you'll see our shirts all over the world and not just in Benidorm when you go down you go, oh, Tony's over there, fucking Burnley shirt.
Yeah, I agree with that. Like me and you talk all the time about how it pisses me off that Burnley aren't that well known, or even basically the club doesn't think of fans outside of Barn Aldwick. Basically, like they don't even cater. Like even simple stuff like putting stuff on social media, like To be fair, this week they did tweet the New Zealand Clarets, but that's because the New Zealand Clarets tagged them in a post and they retweeted it. Just stuff like that. I do think that we do need to do more to market the club.
Even the purchasing, we mentioned it on another thing, I'm not going to go into it now, but the one thing that I will mention is Quilter can't get something like a ticket for an away game. He has to go and collect it from the turf. See, just little things like that.
It's just stupid. It's just putting off people being fans of the club. It's as simple as that. And even stuff like I said, even stuff like reaching a wider audience. And I don't want to go into it too much because it's all me and you really talk about. And I think people just think, shut up, you dicks. But even stuff like the press conference of Alan Pace, why wasn't it streamed on YouTube and Facebook Live? Reach all these millions of people out in America. But no, they put it behind a paywall and stuck it up on YouTube 4 hours later because they didn't want to piss off the people that have paid for Clarets Plus. Who cares? It's like, what, £4 a month? I don't pay for it myself. It's probably more than that. People get in touch and say, you're talking shit. But I just think about the club. Think about how many people this can reach. Don't think about Trevor from Hall Site being pissed off because he's paying £4 a month for Clarets Plus and it's out for free on YouTube. But
no, I agree, mate. This is what I'm saying. So if this guy comes in, and even if he says, right, Clarets Plus is a good idea, but I'm going to make it fucking better. Like, for example, Man United TV. I'm not saying we're going to be that sort of level, but there's other clubs that are a lot smaller than Man United that have a TV channel. Even if it's not an actual Sky TV channel, they've got a YouTube that looks like a TV production.
Yeah, just little stuff. And by the way, Burnley, if you're listening, me and Simon
Dave Burnley.
Well, no, not Dave. I don't think he listens. I think Johnny Tate basically scared him off. But if that little stuff like pre-match live shows on the screen or on Twitter or whatever, like Leicester do one because of where I work. Like I said, I said I work at the bookies. Basically, what I do is I do like the TV production at bookmakers. That's why I do streaming and stuff. But anyway, some of the stuff I have to do is I have to create graphics for starting lineups. And every time Leicester playing, I go on their Twitter to find a starting lineup graphic so I can then put it into the William Hill graphic. And then they're doing like a live show where it's just some guy in a studio chatting and he brings someone else in, like a former player, like Muzzy Is It or whatever. And why aren't we doing that? Like stuff like that. Like, we're a Premier League football club, but we don't think about stuff like that. And like I said, me and Simon are available. Simon knows Dave Jones. I don't know if you know that. We can get Dave Jones on. We should be doing more. I agree with that. But me and you talk about this a lot, and I reckon people think we talk shit off at time because I think people just...
Well, the reason I brought it up, though, is because, like you said, the January transfer window, we've got this guy in. We might not be signing players on the pitch right this minute, but we are building it from behind, and hopefully we will start seeing these players come onto the pitch soon because of the people coming in to sign them and to build the brand.
Yeah, fingers crossed. Anyway, I don't want to get too hung up on that because me and you go on about it all the time, and on the ALK incoming podcast thing that we did, we talked about it a lot. And to be fair, someone did get in touch and say, these guys are speaking right. This is what Burnley fans want. So I can't remember your name off the top of my head, mate. I always say that. But it was like 3 weeks ago. But yeah, let's move on then. We have up next is the Premier League champions away from home. We are playing against a team that has not lost a home game for 15 years, it feels like. Having said that, we were the only team to stop them winning at home last season. So, that is a positive. But it does look a bit of a daunting task at the minute, doesn't it?
Yeah, there is some positives. There's the fact that they've got 2 makeshift centre-halves. And granted, they didn't concede against Man United, but they also haven't scored in 3 games, which is, for them, some sort of like mad panic, or Salah hasn't scored. I can't remember the exact statistic.
2005, isn't it?
But yeah, that for them is absolute panic stations, isn't it? So it's interesting to see where they call themselves panic stations and when we call it. But with the reason I bring that up is because obviously we've got to look at this as, is there ever a better time to play Liverpool, really? Because they're already getting on the backs. They're already whinging that they're not getting the transfers in, you said. They're not scoring goals. The concern that the front three... I mean, I don't think we will get a win there, but I thought that last time when we got a win there. Do you know what I mean? It's you just never know.
Well, a point.
When were the one with Pope? Oh yeah, because it was Robertson scored that header, didn't he?
Yeah, Robertson scored the header. It's obviously I don't think we'll get a win. I don't think we'll get a point. I think 99.99% of Burnley fans listening to this will probably totally agree with you. The only people that will disagree are the type of Burnley fans like, what do you mean you're backed against Burnley? Because they won't back against Burnley at any point. But I don't know. You're saying, is there a better time to play Liverpool? I'm thinking, is there a worse time to play Liverpool? They're going to be a wounded animal. You know, they're fourth in the Premier League at the minute. They want to win the Premier League again. Yes, granted, they have got a makeshift centre-back pairing, but as far as I'm aware, one of them's back this weekend. Tomorrow, Thursday, at the time of recording this, so then that'll give Henderson the chance to move back into midfield. It'll probably be Fabinho, and is it Matip? I think Matip's coming back. I think it's going to be Fabinho and Matip at centre-back tomorrow.
I mean, Fabinho as a centre-half is a quality player still, let's be honest. And Matip's a good player.
He's been brilliant this season, and it's not even his position. It's ridiculous.
And we've got out-of-form strikers. But this
is... well, exactly. They've not, like you said, they've not scored in 3, so... As I've said on the pre-game show, I think Klopp tomorrow will just say, right, we haven't scored in 3. You need to get an early goal. Get at Burnley, get an early goal. And then if you get an early goal, get another one. If you don't get an early goal, keep going. Try and get a second early goal. I think they're going to come out of the blocks.
100%, right? You're exactly right. Their energy levels will be flying because they know they haven't scored in 3. If they don't score in 4, it's the first time in 21 years. Now, if they don't score in first time in 21 years, they don't want that record. They're breaking records the other way, this Liverpool side. They're an unbelievable Liverpool side. But like Chris Wood, only 3 goals. Is the only Burnley player to score more than once in the top flight this season. I was just reading the pre-match on this. But yeah, it's basically Premier League top goal scorer Mo Salah has gone 4 games without a goal, and he's still the top goal scorer. So he's still not to be sort of dismissed just because they're in a bit of a shitty, sticky situation. Still the top goal scorer, still in with a chance of winning the Premier League, and look at Leicester. We keep talking in the Premier League about Man United. Is it going to be City? Is it going to be Liverpool? And Leicester is sat at the top of the league. They must be thinking, are you fucking with
United
real?
are currently beating Fulham, which is good for us. So United will probably be the top of the league by the time this goes out. But Simon is correct at the time of recording. But yeah, it's one of them. Like we can have that debate another day. Like who we think's going to win the Premier League. That's probably one for an international break. But it is looking quite a decent battle at the top.
It is, mate. And do you know another interesting fact I've just read here on the head-to-head? Burnley's 2-0 victory at Turf Moor in 2016 is their only win against Liverpool in 12 Premier League games.
You remember that time we got promoted? I think they beat us 4-0 at Anfield and they beat us 4-0 at the Turf. They're relegated us that year. Well, we got relegated because
that and the other 38 games
halfway through the season, but that game relegated us. I think Gerrard scored an absolute screamer, to be fair.
Yeah, I think we held him for ages as well, and Gerrard just did a rocket, didn't he? We held him for ages.
We don't do well against Liverpool traditionally. There's obviously been, like you say, there's been exceptions to that rule. We beat them in the FA Cup, Traore, which is about X amount of years ago this week. When was that? We're at 2004, 2005 it will have been. And what year are we in now? 2021. So a long 16 years ago this week. Mad.
Do you know when people have them mad statistics like Liverpool do at the minute, where they're unbeaten in 68 Premier League home games?
Yeah.
And you hear about it, you think, fucking hell, that's impressive. And then you hear something mad like, yeah, but they've drawn 50 of them. You know what I mean? It's something, there's something in there that usually makes more sense of it. They've only drawn 13 of 68 games at home.
Yeah, one of them were us. That is
exactly.
We can take out of it.
So it's going to be 14 by Sunday.
Fingers crossed. Or it'll still be 13 and then they'll have lost. That's even better.
Yeah, good point. I get you.
Yeah, that brings me on nicely to the match reaction. Match reaction prediction. Sorry, what's your match prediction?
Do you know what? I've still not picked.
1-1.
I've still not picked us to get beat.
However,
everything in me is screaming 2-0 Liverpool. But I'm going to say. But I'm going to say 0-0.
Oh, fuck off. 3-0 Liverpool for me. They'll score within the first 5 minutes. Then they'll score again. We'll be 2-0 down at 20 minutes. Then we'll keep it at 2-0 till half time. We'll come out in the second half, play a bit better. Then that'll be Sean Dyche's excuse to say, we found a few pockets of space and played all right. But then, on the whole, we'll be a bit shite. And then eventually they'll put the game to bed. Not that it isn't to bed, but, we'll be pushing a bit. And I was like, if Burnley get the next goal here, we're in the game. And then Liverpool will put it to bed 3-0, job's done. I'm saying that's what's going to happen tomorrow. People again, why is he always so negative? But come on, we're playing Liverpool tomorrow. Yeah, I don't know. I'm not looking forward to it. Fingers crossed we can get a victory against Fulham on Sunday. We will be doing a watch along. Simon, are you free tomorrow for a watch along? We're not actually yet, have I? You're not doing some L'Oreal hair social stuff, are you, when the game's on?
Not that I'm aware of. What time's kick-off, though?
8?
8 o'clock.
I'll have a look now.
Yeah, should be right.
Yeah, fair enough. So we're doing a watch along tomorrow then. It will be me and Simon. Yeah, it's 8 o'clock. Fingers crossed for Johnny Tate and Jared as well. I'll have to create a new watch along graphic. If there's 4 of us, you'll see 4 squares on your screen. If there's 3 of us, I'll do like a different sort of graphic. So keep your eyes out for that. Fingers crossed everything's gone all right with this recording, because we've had to do things a little bit differently today because my computer's just like a shit and Simon's is very, very good. So we've had to do it a little bit differently. So fingers crossed all are okay. The sounds were okay. If it wasn't, I can only apologise. But yeah, we'll see you for the watch along tomorrow. We'll see you for the match reaction tomorrow as well, and the fan reaction on Friday. And then we'll be doing another watch along before the next podcast, the Fulham game. So for the next podcast, we'll have 2 games to discuss. So Simon, unless there's anything you want to add, we'll wrap it up here.
No, mate, good one. Thanks very much.
No, thanks for coming on. So that's it for this week's episode of TurfCast. Yeah, we'll see you for the watch along tomorrow. Fingers crossed. Bye.